In Providence, Rhode Island, it's NCAA Tournament Lacrosse. Today in Game 2, the Stags of Fairfield, the Great Western champions, take on the Minutemen of UMass, the ECAC champions. Well, hi again, everybody. I'm Barry Landers, along with Arnie Mazer on a beautiful Saturday afternoon as we get set for Game 2. And Arnie, in Game 1, Cornell with a statement as they knocked off a very game but gritty Stony Brook club to advance next week in the tournament.
Well, I think Cornell wanted to establish certain things. Number one, their offense. They had problems getting things going. They did that. They won the game. Takes them into the tournament. Next bracket.
All right, Arnie, speaking of the bracket, we take a look at it right here. They'll take on Virginia next week down at Johns Hopkins. And the winner of this game will take on Johns Hopkins next week.
Well, it's the usual suspects, but it should be an interesting tournament. Everybody I talk to around the NCAA thinks this is wide open, and a lot of people think Cornell is the sleeper.
Of course, you've got Syracuse and Princeton, the other ranked teams, waiting to play next week at Hofstra. Let's take a look at this game in particular. You've got the Fairfield Stags coming in. A lot of people don't realize that this is a pretty good ball club.
It's a pretty good ball club, and it's a well-established ball club. They are solid. They're, of course, led by a fellow by the name of Matt Bucher, who really is an outstanding scorer, a guy that's coming into his own. Out of Maryland, has good hands, knows the game, knows what to do. Look to him to lead the Stags.
Well, they'll certainly have to get a big game from their goalie, C.J. Kemp, because the opposition, the Minutemen, are one of the highest scoring teams in the nation. They like to push the ball up the field. They have 4 scorers with 29 goals or more. They've got a dandy in the midfield by the name of Kevin Lavelle.
Kevin Lavelle, he's one of those guys I refer to as the real deal. I mean, he comes fully loaded. He can shoot the ball, he can score, he can feed, he's got a bunch of goals. He's a converted attackman out of high school. He certainly knows the game, and UMass is anxious to make a statement here today.
All right, we'll be back with more from Brown University NCAA Lacrosse coming up next. Landers Sports Productions broadcast of the first round of the 2002 NCAA Division I Men's Lacrosse Tournament is brought to you by Pride, the official ball of the NCAA Lacrosse Championships, and by J.P. Morgan Chase, the leading bank for business, and by STX, the fastest game on 2 feet.
Breck has a thing that how do you define mankind? How do you define the human? He said the human is the symbol-making animal.
That's mind-boggling. But look at the magic.
Push on the genetics. Try to figure out how the genes interact.
This is not your usual university. We talk about it as a university with a mind of its own, and it really is.
Who's going to be late for work this morning? If you're on the westbound side of the Market Street Bridge, just putter and park and recline the seats. Both lanes of traffic are blocked up due to a 2-car accident. No report of injuries at this time. The men in blue are on the scene breaking up the barricades. Traffic looks... Hold on a second. There's a woman. She is going up the side of the bridge, and the bridge is up. The bridge is up. Oh, she jumped the bridge. Oh, my, she jumped the bridge. A woman...
You know, most men get pretty shook up about losing their hair. But today, many of them are learning about Bosley Medical. They use your own living hair to fill in the thin spots. Just look at that. It really works. You can treat it like real hair because it is real hair. Your own naturally growing hair. So you don't have to worry about it.
Research you to know what you got to do here today. It's very clear. Their coach said to me, Ted Spencer, he said, look, we've got to go out and win the battle of possession, big time. We need strong goaltending for C.J. Kemp. That's because Massachusetts is a high-powered offense. Massachusetts loves to shoot and shoot some more. Greg Tidell is the coach there. He says, as usual, what's going to determine a game like this is face-offs. Canella, by the way, looked a little tense before the game. As far as what we're playing on today, it's natural grass. That means the ball moves slower. That means a few out-of-bounds plays in this game. Pretty pumped up here, Barry.
All right, Ed, thanks very much. As you see the Fairfield Stags gathered around their coach, Ted Spencer. Let's take a look at the starting lineup. And for the Stags, the attack, of course, led by Bucher. Troy Bayman is an exciting sophomore. And in the midfield, Tom Werney is a guy to look for. He's got the best outside shot.
of the entire group, and he'll be out there with Rob Scipione and Rory McCarthy. And on defense, it'll be tested today. Nate Bowers, Brian Whalen, and Joe Bidet will have to come up big, and likewise goalie C.J. Kemp. And for UMass, a very potent attack, Arnie. 35 goal scorer Mark Morley, 31 goal scorer Dan Passione. Gene Tundo's the playmaker. And as you look at the midfield, 31 goal scorer Kevin Lavelle and Chris Fiore with 29.
Well, the key to this game, Barry, is going to be nothing but tempo, tempo, tempo. UMass is going to want to run the ball, and Fairfield is going to want to slow it down.
And that defense that you saw from Fairfield right there is going to be have to be very, very good today. Greg Cannella, former UMass star player, looking on right here as we get set to go. And of course, Bill Shell will be the UMass goalie, but also for UMass defensively, Matt McFarland, one of the best defenders around, 3-time All-American. He'll be looking to shut down, I believe, Matt Bucher today.
And as you see for UMass, Passione is facing off an attack man. That's pretty interesting.
Peter Vlahakis is an outstanding face-off man, over 61%, a real clamper, and Fairfield came up with possession. And as our Ed said earlier, and as we both know, they want to keep the ball out of the hands of the Minutemen, take good shots, and maintain possession.
Massachusetts is going to look to run the ball as much as possible, run and gun style, much as I used to refer to as the Syracuse style of lacrosse.
Let's set the lineup for you. Bucher is outside now on the wing. He's forward. 2 is Rob Scipione. Number 29 is Rory McCarthy. He's had 10 goals this year. Not a high-scoring team, averaging just 9 goals a game, and they've won 5 one-goal games. Here's Scipione. Feet on the crease, but the pass could not be handled by Rory McCarthy.
That got eaten up. That was a nice defensive play by the UMass defense coming together as a team. As you saw, Fairfield bunched everybody down, and as usual, UMass is on the run.
Paul Hutchin with the clear. He's a defensive midi, number 2. As they reset, get the offensive middies on. They wait for them now. A lot of room on the field here for Little. Little to his right, bounce shot. And a good save that time, the first one of the game for C.J. Kemp. Loose ball, and Kemp comes out to play it, Arnie.
Kemp is going to have to play one heck of a game, that's for sure.
Now they look to clear.
And nicely, too.
And they'll bring it across and reset here, and we get a whistle. And a very quick timeout for Fairfield right here. As we see coach right there, Ted Spencer, in his 7th year, a record of 56 and 47. And like Greg Cannella, UMass grads played for the legendary Dick Garber.
It's a very interesting thing that he called that timeout there. I mean, that's a quick timeout. Obviously, he saw something on the field he didn't like. Either it was a defense that he didn't care for, he didn't have the right offensive personnel, but he's going to call a play now. He wants to get on the board quickly.
In case you're just tuning in earlier today, Cornell knocked off Stony Brook 12-3. And it was a 3-goal afternoon for Sean Greenlaw, and also for Billy Fort. Justin Sinar came up awfully big once again with 13 saves as the Big Red moves on to play Dom Starcia's Virginia
Yeah,
team.
That's one heck of a reward. Go down to Hopkins and play Virginia. That's, I mean, Cornell can really, I think, as we mentioned in the opening, Jeff Tambroni wanted to get certain things set, and I think he got them set in his mind, and it should be a good game next week.
All right, Stags go back on. And we'll resume play here. The referee in the game today is Ed Schreiber. Our umpire is Tommy Abbott, field judge Jim Luxinger, and the box operator Scott Farrow. Let's see what they try to isolate here. Bucher, of course, is their leading scorer.
Again, they're running what I call a picket fence right above the crease. Look at that. They're stacking everybody up. They've got an isolation, moving the ball out, and they'll break out from there.
They try to take advantage of the short stick. Hutchin, the defensive midi, number 2, is on as they try to work it behind. Number 4 is Bucher. Bucher working against McFarland. That's the matchup. Now gets a pick from behind.
McFarland's got to be careful with that stick. Look how he's hacking him.
So McFarland staying right on it.
Fairfield playing down tempo. This is what they want.
This is Mark Torrey, complimentary player, just 3 goals, 8 assists. Pass could not be handled in the midfield. Paul sees, you see it dying at midfield. McCarthy. And they maintain possession right there.
He's fighting his way through Garcia.
Tom Cook now with it, number 23. As they work the second midfield unit on. Sean Graham is 31. Keith Ergo is 13.
Again, they're running there. They take a midi down. They're running that picket fence, and they're all going to break out at once. This guy's going to call a play from back there. There they go.
Again, they invert. They like to do that.
Trying to hit all four corners, get the ball around.
This is Bucher against McFarland. Bounce shot wide of the young goalie, Billy Shell. Billy Shell from Mahopac High School. Outstanding goalie who took over 5 games into the season as the starting keeper.
Mahopac has a great program.
Greg Cannella made a change. They lost an All-American goalie, of course, from last year.
Nice check.
Top side left.
They're trying to move the ball around all 4 corners, the perimeter of the goal, looking for an opening.
Take left.
It's a very, very deliberate offense, and in the deliberate offense, your passes have to be crisp. You can't afford to give the ball away.
Sean Graham against Hutchin. Graham's a senior from Woodstock with 3 goals, plays on the second midfield. Up top.
Top left.
Bucher trying to roll off.
Side left. Side left, right foot.
Again, you hear the comments of the UMass goalie, Billy Shell, who's a real vocal leader. That's one of the things they like about him for a freshman.
Gotta be. Any goalie who doesn't open his mouth isn't worth it.
Bucher denied.
Bucher, they're trying to get the ball out to him. That stacked offense, as a defenseman, it's somewhat difficult to defend against because you lose your man in the stack, and all of a sudden you break out and it's like mass confusion, and you gotta find your guy. You see a couple of UMass guys running around, but that seems to be what Fairfield is doing.
Justin Walker, number 33, comes on as a short stick defensive midi for UMass. Bucher recovers. Nice feed. Oh, and a big save in tight, that time by Shell. And back comes UMass with the transition.
Running and gunning.
Good job as they brought it down by Hutchin, number 2. Paul Hutchin, one of the fastest players on the UMass team.
They don't have the offense out there they want.
Now they'll settle it. Number 4 is Don Little. 13 goals in that terrific midfield. That has 31 goal scorer in Lavelle and a 29 goal scorer in Fiore. Who do you stop? Who do you mark?
I don't know. Lavelle's a little slow. He's got that brace on his leg. He's had some knee problems.
Regular.
Here's Little.
Regular.
Up top. Working it around. Laval is 19. Fiore's 21.
They're going to roll back. Here's a here it is. Nice. They clamped down on Lavelle pretty hard. That was a good check. They were keying on him. Lavelle was looking to crank it.
Brian Whalen did a good job defensively there. He's number 36. Over 5 minutes gone. No score. UMass with the possession. Here's Passione. Passione with 31 goals. And good save that time.
You saw that quick look into Lavelle, and you saw how quickly he got that shot off.
He's got a very quick release. Trying to clear right now is Joe Bidet. And will it die on the grass? Goes out of bounds, so the pressure forces the turnover as Bidet unable to get the pass downfield.
Going to be UMass ball. Lavelle was an attackman in high school. So when you get in that close and you get that shot, you're able to just crank it quickly. Here it is. You see that crank. Boom. I mean, a shot like that, that's tough to stop.
Well, he's gotten over 100 points in his outstanding career, just a junior, and has had huge games this year. Really has come on after being scoreless against Yale. Since that game, the last 4 games, has had 12 goals, 4 assists. They played a big game in the win over Georgetown that gave UMass the ECAC championship.
That was a big win, and I got to tell you, Barry, I think Georgetown is a team to look for in this tournament. Dave Urick's done an outstanding job, and he's pretty loaded this year.
They lost a lot on that great team, but they've got Dussault and a lot of great players.
A lot of them, yeah. Neil Goldman stepped up big time for them.
Yep. UMass being patient here. Passione coming around. Up top. Now in the game is number 9, Jeff Zawicki, because they brought in some of the second midfielders here.
Right, give them a break and move the ball around, but they are moving the ball well. That was a nice pick.
Check up.
This is Zawicki with 13 goals. You know, Arnie, a lot of teams, you look at second midfielders, they're just out to kind of give the first midfield a blow, but this second midfield has a 13-goal scorer, a 10-goal scorer, and an 8-goal scorer.
Look, he's waiting to see who's looking. That was a nice play.
Oh, indeed it was. Great feed, and finishing right there was number 22 on that second midfield, Dusty Smith. Well, the look, and Dusty Smith coming down, cutting down. He was an 8th midfielder last year and has scored some big goals this year. He's a tremendous standstill shooter, they tell us. And the kid from Westchester, Pennsylvania, with his 9th goal of the year, has made it 1-0. Passione with the good assist.
Well, Passione waiting behind the goal for the defenseman to make his move. Smith cuts down, boom, he just gets him the ball. I mean, if he's going to wait there, somebody's got to rush him.
Lahakis rakes the ball back. And who's going to come up with it? Still loose on the ground. And there's the big guy, big Matt McFarland, 6'3", coming up with the ball. Nice check from behind. I believe that play was number 31, Sean Graham, with the check. And again, a check. And a good play by Fairfield here.
It was a play on because the goalie was outside the goal. There was no interference.
And now a little transition here for the Stags. Nice feed, but Bucher couldn't handle the pass. All alone, one-on-one against Shell there.
There's a little bit of jitters on the Stags. UMass looks a little more comfortable out there. That's going to make a big difference. They're moving the ball very well.
Tommy Fallon with a nice clear. He's an unsung hero on this team because McFarland gets so much publicity. A kid out of Shaker Heights, Ohio, starting to get a lot of good players. Shaker Heights traditionally has been one of the good schools in Ohio to develop.
What is it, Upper Arlington out there also?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Shaker Heights in the Cleveland area, Upper Arlington in the Columbus area.
Who's hot, Chris?
1-0 is our score.
It's Lavelle.
Again, working the ball outside. Fiore cutting behind as he inverts.
Check up, check up. Who's hot? Middle, check.
Feed eludes the UMass player, but picked up by Donnie Little. He's a senior from Clifton Park, New York, up in the Buffalo area.
Too much time. When you don't have a shot like that, you got to get rid of the ball, look to the outside. You just can't shoot. Defenseman came on right in on Lavelle's hands.
Fairfield a little shaky on the clear. Penalty coming up on Fairfield.
Late hit.
Donnie Little getting inside, and the save by Kemp. He's a kid out of Potomac, Maryland, but Fairfield will be a man down right here.
Unsportsmanlike. It was a high hit.
And this is a team you don't want to go man down against. UMass almost 40% on the man up.
Well, here's Kevin Lavelle with the ball, and you see that he got rid of the ball, and all of a sudden, boom, it's a late hit, unsportsmanlike. 1 minute. Well, they're calling it a cross-checking. Interesting.
So it's a penalty coming up to Fairfield, number 32. It's Matt Scott being called for the cross-check. And Fairfield, man down this year, has done a pretty mediocre job. 68, 62% they've killed penalties, 19 for 50. But this is a team you don't, unforced error that time, the pass over the head and sails out of bounds over the stick of Don Little.
Well, you had a nice mixture on that man up by UMass. You had ball being passed around the perimeter, sending cutters down the middle of the crease into the hole. I mean, that is a nice looking offense. It's just a shame that they got an unforced error.
42 seconds on the man up. Looking to clear the double up as they inbound. And here is Kemp, 5'9". Great stopper. Has improved his clearing ability, they say. Good job by Baudet to bring it across. He gets checked as he ran into the check. And we're getting a timeout called as he ran into the check of Greg Scott.
A smart 12. Timeout.
Timeout on the field. Midway through the first quarter, it's UMass 1 and Fairfield nothing.
America East, 9 institutions committed to academic and athletic excellence.
In the middle of May, and UMass with a 1-0 lead. 5:59 to go in this first quarter. Dusty Smith, the lone goal scorer. We talked about how many weapons this UMass team has, that second midfield scoring. I think they've got 9 players with almost 10 goals or more in this team.
You know, it's interesting, Ted Spencer calling that timeout, yes, to get the ball across to a short stick to use it, but he's already used 2 timeouts. He's only got 3 per half.
Honey, I was turning the clock ahead Mother's Day, made it a Sunday.
Yeah.
Rob Scipione with it outside. Scipione, a senior from Mahopac, another one of those Mahopac players.
5 seconds, go ahead, Matt.
Very fast. He's got a hard shot.
Now they're even.
All even. Just did a good job taking time off the clock there.
Yeah.
Lefty, lefty.
This is Tom Werney, who has the best shot on the team. He's a lefty. Number 11. Up top, alone. Whistled high by Scipione wide. He's a righty.
What's the inbound?
And the ball will be put back in play.
Back left. Alex. Pick right. Right foot, right. Check.
Feet up top. Scipione bounces one. Good feet, good movement that time by Bill Shell on the slow shot, but a little difficult to handle.
Still on this field, with a grass field, you don't know how the ball's going to bounce. It was a nice play. It was a nice save.
Yep. Fairfield with 5 shots, UMass 4 as UMass brings it down. And let's check in with Ed Ingles.
Well, when Ted Spencer took the timeout for Fairfield, that last stoppage of play, he tried to calm his players down a little bit. He said, be a little more patient. He senses they're nervous. He also said, watch the cutters down the throat from UMass. Don't leave your man. Close on the UMass man when he makes that move. Back to you, Barry.
All right, Ed, again, that second midfield getting a lot of playing time here. Sawicki, Lundberg, and Smith out there.
Who's hot?
Here's Mark Morley coming around.
Got to be careful
eludes
there.
Neil Lundberg, 16. Check, but there's UMass to alertly pick up the ball. Jeff Sawicki.
Surprised that wasn't a call.
Top center.
From behind.
Hawk deep, Hawk. Hawk it up,
Up to Lundberg, a sophomore from Bloomfield Hills, Michigan.
UMass going into a different offensive set.
And coming around, being denied, Mark Morley. We talked about Morley a little bit earlier. 35 goals for this guy, who's a senior out of Canton, New York.
Well, you see the elusive moves by Morley. I mean, takes the stick high, just goes under his man. That's nice movement.
Yeah, Morley's been their hot hand lately. 6 goals in the big win over Rutgers in their final regular season game. And that shot taken by Gene Tundo, who's normally a playmaker, with 8 goals, 20 assists.
UMass trying to force the pace. They're not. They're taking forced shots. They haven't found their tempo yet, which actually is something that Fairfield would like.
Absolutely. Here's Jeff Sawicki. Checked.
Again, trying to force the ball offensively.
Bad clear. Rory McCarthy trying to come up with the ball, number 29. And he got called for the push. So UMass gets it back, leading 1-0. On the goal by Dusty Smith. Shots are pretty even, 6-5. UMass working it outside.
Top right. Mambo.
Dusty Smith, the goal scorer,
Mambo.
out there right now, along with Neil Lundberg. This is Lundberg. Big and strong, 6'4", 220, gets the shot off and scores.
Yeah, well, I got to tell you something. 6'4", 220. And that is, you just force your way in on that. And what you do, what Lundberg does, is he hides the ball in his stick. He'll just turn and fire. He's essentially shooting over the guy's head. But he drives his way in, puts his body in front, protects the stick with his body, turns and shoots.
That time, Kevin Finnerty, 6', 180, was trying to defend him.
Yeah, I'd put a long pole on that guy. You don't want a short stick on him. That's tough.
Again, in the second midfield, you got so much depth. 2 goals from the second midfield as Lundberg gets his 11th of the year.
That's a big boy.
He's been coming on, the sophomore, had 2 goals in the big win over Rutgers last week. Now Fairfield trailing 2-0. And we'll set their lineup for you as they've made some changes too. Fairfield working it around. Into the game right now is John Cusack, number 8. For the Stags. That's Cusack. Off to Bucher. 34 also in the game for the Stags is Ricky Voigt. This is Voigt. Nice feed on the crease and they score. Beautiful feed from Voigt. And the goal scored that time by the Fairfield Stags. Justin Geluso, a junior midfielder at a Harbor Fields High School on Long Island.
Again, they're running isolations. Voigt is out front. Geluso comes along the crease. Voigt just feeds him. Geluso turns and fires. Again, he'll set it up high. Geluso coming from behind, rolls right around the crease, catches and fires. It's a nice play.
So the Stags using some of their reserves to come right back. That's basically their third midfield that they were using.
Well, it's an interesting offense. I mean, everything is based around an isolation and confusion. You're driving the opposing defensive team down into a mass and having a guy break out from underneath. It's interesting.
2-1 is our score. Pressure being applied on the ride here, and UMass trying to come downfield with it. Paul Hutchin got it downfield, off to the long stick, and the save made that time out front. Picked up this time by Joe Bidet. He's their best defenseman. And a nice clear. Got the ball upfield nicely to Matt Bucher.
Notice how Bidet slowed down. Fairfield does not want to get into a running match with UMass.
Troy Bayman now handling the ball. He has a twin brother, Garrett Bayman, on this team. A couple of young men from the Rochester area.
There you go. All that. Oh, look at that offense. They're all converging in the middle, leaving one man behind. This is fascinating.
Yep, you see it up top. There it is, like a stack in basketball.
Exactly, a picket fence.
Here's Cusack.
And then they'll all break out.
Cusack, he's got an open player, and they score to tie it. Justin Geluso again, the junior from Greenlawn, New York.
I mean, that is like mass confusion. It's kind of cool. You have their offense bunched down, man coming around looking. Geluso will break and loses his man and has the open shot. It's really nice.
Second goal of the game for Geluso, his 6th of the year, and the assist from Cusack, John Cusack, the junior from Rochester, New York. So Fairfield with a nice offense, surprising UMass.
It's a very interesting offense.
Minutemen win the face-off here. And they'll regain the lead very quickly. Dan Passione rifling it off the wing as they won that face-off, and that's what they want to do, push the tempo. And they score to take the lead.
Yep.
Passione's 32nd goal of the year. Let's see who was on the face-off there. And it is picked up. I believe the face-off man was Craig Kahn, number 8.
Craig Kahn gets it off to Passione again. You want to get somebody in transition. You want to get a team in transition. Get them off their defensive set. Makes it a lot easier.
Lacus did a good job raking the ball, but it is picked up by UMass. And we get a whistle against UMass. And the ball goes back over.
I think it was an offsides against UMass. Somebody broke too soon.
So tempo picking up here. Pass could not be handled on the far side by A.J. Califano. And UMass will get the ball. There's a look at Califano, the freshman out of Suffern, New York. And as the whistle blows, teams make changes with 20 seconds to go. It's a 3-2 game. Dan Passione breaking the tie just a short time ago. And now McFarland at a Garden City High School, one of the premier high school lacrosse programs in the country, coached by Doc Doherty.
UMass forcing it just a little bit.
Will they get a shot off in time? Little fires as the horn sounds, ending the first quarter. So after one, UMass leads the Falakis. Comes up with the ball. He has done a terrific job. Falakis, his dad, of course, started Inside Lacrosse magazine. A real big friend of the sport.
Well, as you said, he's a clamper. That's a lot of strength. You come down and you clamp and you rake.
Another Long Island,
get the ball out.
Another Long Island product out of Shoreham-Wading River High School. So Fairfield with possession. Tom Werney, number 11, playing in the midfield. They've got that first midfield unit. Rory McCarthy, 29. And Scipione, number 2.
There they go again, bringing everybody down.
Scipione drew McFarland with the long stick. Got a pick. And we're going to get a little, what?
A ward, yeah. It's going to go over. Hold him with the stick.
So Billy Shell gets it upfield. Doubling up on the ball here. And they found the open man on the clear. Lavelle brings it down.
Shut him.
Brian Whalen playing him, number 36.
22. Play 22. Shut him off.
It's funny.
22.
Fairfield is feeling in command of their offense, which has given their defense the freedom to play UMass straight up.
Interesting point.
Yeah.
Ball's top left. Yo, help him out inside.
I was going to say thank you.
Here's Fiore. Pass could not be handled, but UMass will recover. Laval.
Ball's right.
UMass can't afford to drop passes. They're off their rhythm. They're trying to force this too much.
Passione on the far side. Picked up by Baudet.
Ball's X. On his hands, Wales. On his
Now
hands.
behind at the
On
X.
his hands. Back left.
Here's
Who's
Fiore,
hot?
who's inverted. Gene Tundo now comes out. Tundo's their playmaker with 20
On his hands,
assists.
Joe. On his
Good-looking
hands.
freshman.
On his hands. On his hands. Check.
Passione.
Right side, turn him, turn him. Turn him.
Baudet,
Check.
good job there.
Check.
Morley's pass will be recovered outside.
Who's going?
Fiore gets in tight, gets checked, and it's picked up by Fairfield.
Yeah, defenseman slid over and stopped Fiore. It was a nice defensive play. They are feeling very comfortable.
Baudet on the transition will get the shot blocked.
I like it when long sticks shoot.
He's had a goal this year, Joe, out of Needham, Mass. And back comes UMass. Lavelle
Lavelle's
getting
going to the hoop.
inside. Oh! Thought he was going to get that one there. He's normally a very good finisher inside. Well, today's doubleheader is brought to you in part by JP Morgan Chase, proud sponsor of NCAA lacrosse. JD Morgan Chase has a long tradition of sponsorship in philanthropic and sporting events to enhance the communities it serves. JP Morgan Chase, the leading bank for business. And thanks to all the good folks at Chase for helping make this game possible. Lundberg gets in tight, knocked down by Kemp.
Yeah, they put a pole on Lundberg. It makes a big difference. He can't move as well.
So again, that second midfield getting a lot of playing time here for UMass.
When you hear the goalie yell on his hands, on his hands, on his hands, it means check his hands. You got your hands on the stick. If your hands are checked, it's tough to move the stick.
Lundberg working it outside.
Pablo! Pablo! Who's hot? Finer, right side, right.
Lundberg's looking to go.
Yep.
Nice feed.
Oh, Lundberg with a great feed on the crease to Passione. But Passione denied right there. And Fairfield looking to clear it upfield with the long stick. This is Klein, 22. Chris Klein. And now Fairfield looking to tie up the game here. Right now, while we have a moment, let's check in with Ed Ingles down on the field.
Marty, I got a question for you. We talked about UMass at the top of the game, and they had to shoot, get their offense going. That's what Ted Spencer worried about for Fairfield. Why isn't UMass doing more of that, shooting more?
I think UMass is trying to force it, and that's what's throwing them off their rhythm. They have not been, any shot they've got has been forced. You'll notice they seem a little nervous because they're missing passes. They're off their rhythm. And that gives Fairfield a lot of confidence.
Sean Graham now out there on the second midfield unit, so a lot of players getting time here. This is Tom Cook, 23. And check it behind number 13 is Keith Ergo.
There we go into this stack.
White, left foot, left.
This has been effective. They've been able to score 2 goals off this, as Geluso has scored a couple.
Even, side right, Paulie, left foot, left
Again,
foot.
they're opening up one side of the field, leaving it to 2 players.
X.
This is Ergo,
Back left here.
picked up by Hutchin.
Playing a short. Ergo on a short. A short stick.
Once again, they got a short stick. Lundberg out there, 16 defensively.
Up, there's a flag. That's a slash right there. You can hear it.
And as the ball hits the ground, a call will be made. So they've been very patient, and sometimes a team that wants to push the tempo will get a little impatient defensively, and we saw it right
And
there.
I think that's what's happening. I think UMass has been thrown off their rhythm. They came in here, they wanted to make a statement. They are a very, very good team. Let's see how they recover from this. They've got to slow down a little bit and find their rhythm. Right now, they're playing the Fairfields.
Now Fairfield will bring in the younger, the twin brother, Garrett Bayman, number 5, to play extra man. He's had 7 goals this year, so the Bayman brothers out there. Number 2, Scipione. This is McCarthy behind. UMass, Lundberg for slashing 1 minute. Fairfield's man up has been very poor this year, just 21%, only 8 goals this year.
And there's a good reason why, missed passes.
Well, they bring in some extra people here. They don't normally play a lot. And we get a push.
And it's going to be UMass ball.
Long feed. They try to catch him napping down there.
Yeah, Lavelle broke towards the goal.
Alertly, Joe Baudet was back there to recover. Now, poor play here with that extra man. And out of the cage, try to eat up some time. Shell. gets it off now on the wing to Dusty Smith, who's had a surprisingly big part in this game with 2 goals today.
Yeah, just rolled through 3 guys and brought it across.
Shows you the talent level. Here's a guy trying to get some playing time on the 3rd midfield. That's Dusty out there.
They're finally even. UMass was still man down. They just killed the penalty.
Did it very well.
Yeah.
UMass's ability this year to clear penalties. They've been penalized a lot, 75 times this year, operating at about 66% kill ratio. UMass with a 3-2 lead. But this is a team that scores 15 goals a game so far in 23 minutes. They've been held to just 3 goals on.
Well, it's both are deliberate. I mean, Fairfield's playing a deliberate game, which is something that UMass does not want to do.
Donnie Little, second team all ECAC player.
Check. Hold.
Little up top.
Who's hot?
Fiore. Check nicely from behind. Good job.
Left his stick hanging. But UMass controlling the ball. That's a factor here. There's Lavelle.
Picked up by the other defender.
They're doubling him.
Yep, got to keep an eye on him. Rifled from the wing wide that time. And it'll still be UMass ball. Ground balls have been 13-9 in favor of UMass. Jason Yellen, our great statistician, sports information director from the University of Maryland, keeping us abreast of all the numbers. Kevin Lavelle. Fiore gets a step on the defender and rifled it wide. It'll still be UMass ball, but Fiore is a tremendous shooter on the run. That's his forte, and he shot that on the run.
Yeah, but he's forcing the run. As you can see, Fiore's forcing the run. This is coming out of a set offense, and Fiore takes off down. So these guys, they really are looking for transition. They are looking to get the fast break.
Now, Fiore's got the kind of size that's a load to try to stop because he's got good speed. 6'4", 200-pounder. And this is Little getting inside, bounces it wide. They'll hustle with the ball. It'll stay in bounds.
UMass also, I believe, plays on AstroTurf. So
Morley made a nice play to keep that ball in bounds. A little impatient trying to shoot before he caught the ball that time, Fiore. Good defense by Fairfield.
Fairfield's all over him.
Excellent play by Fairfield, and they'll come up with the ball. Looking to clear here and doing a good job.
And they're going to catch UMass in transition.
Oh,
nice save.
Save that time as he stopped Bucher. Bucher with a close-in opportunity, transition back the other way. This is what UMass wants to do, get the ball into a transition game. Lavelle will wait for help as they change on the fly. Jeff Zawicki will come on. And Lavelle will come off with that midfield unit.
Lavelle's been out there since the man down. He was the middy that was going to fly in once they went even.
Now
so he's had a long run.
Lundberg and Dusty Smith join this midfield unit.
Look at the size of Lundberg. I mean, he's just going to go straight to the crease and take up space. There he is.
2 6'4" middies.
Yeah.
In Lundberg and Fiore. Oh, Passione couldn't handle that pass. Tries to recover. And a good job by the defense to try to come up with the ball. That's Brian Whalen on the far side. Off now to Baudet. 5:44 to go, but the clear picked off, and this is McFarley. Oh, check that. It was picked off by UMass on the clear. Lundberg with it. Good job by UMass as they now resettle. Now they'll make changes.
They're not playing the kind of game they want to. They're not used to a set offense, and they want to go into transition. I keep repeating that over and over again, but it's becoming blatantly obvious.
Dusty Smith, who's had a pair. Nice feed, getting in tight, and scoring beautifully, Jeff Zawicki. So again, that midfield unit of Lundberg, Smith, and Zawicki, they have been the goal scorers today.
This is like a trailer. Smith carries the ball down, then turns around and fires to Zawicki coming in, and he just takes it to the goal line, perpendicular, and lets it go. That was an off-angle shot that was nice. Look at him. He goes right across the goalie's body into the lower corner.
He's one of those kids you like from Ontario, one of those Canadian kids. And he actually was a teammate in Ontario with the great player that we saw from Cornell earlier today, Greenhall. So they played together in the same high school team up in Ontario.
Again, box players, they, you know, a lot of shooting skills there. They get it from in close.
Zawicki was highly recruited and has come up with his 14th goal. Faceoffs are now even at 4 apiece. Fairfield trailing 4-2. So it's been not the big name scoring today.
No, but actually it's a game that Fairfield should feel proud of. They are pretty much in control. They just simply really have to put more. They've got to get their offense back on track.
No
their defense, yeah, their defense has been holding their own.
And this is a very big possession.
Right.
And they've been patient. They need this guy Bucher, who's drawn the All-American McFarland on him today.
It's an offense that moves from one side of the field to the other and tries to free up the opposite side, if that makes sense.
Well, Werney, they'd like to get him to shoot from outside. He's a lefty, number 11. He's out there right now. This is Passione. Check that. Scipione gets the bounce shot. Save made. And look to them looking to clear once again. UMass here. Tommy Fallon, number 18 on the clear. Fallon,
nice movement.
6'4", 240. Boy, does he run well for that size, Arnie.
Timeout, UMass. It was a good call. I think that's his first timeout of this half.
Out of Shaker Heights, Ohio, Fallon and the UMass Minutemen lead it 4-2. Will return in a moment.
The action's hot and heavy at the two.
Stags trailing the Minutemen 4-2, and UMass with the ball right here.
Well, this is an important possession for UMass. He wants to get a goal before he goes into the halftime. It would really make his team feel a lot better. I think they are not in a position they want to be in.
Well, we talked about the 4 scorers with 29 goals or more. None of them have scored today. Trying to make that change. Oh, Fiore hammered. Loose ball, and Fiore trying to come up with it, and he does. Boy, that interior defense has been outstanding around the crease.
Well, Chris Klein went right over Fiore's head. What we used to call an Indian check. That stuff, he jumped up and just came down on his stick. Nice, clean check. This defense is pretty impressive.
Klein, a 2-year starter out of that Shoreham Wading River program that Pete Walakis comes from. Passione, another Long Island kid out of Farmingdale High School. On the run, getting the bounce shot. Lavelle hitting the pipe. Picked up again by Lavelle,
who shot behind the back.
I don't know if Greg Cannella would appreciate that shot. They'll still retain possession.
Oh, he'll let Lavelle play.
Crafty, unselfish.
Lavelle takes the shot, hits the pipe, gets his own rebound, as they say, and comes out and shoots again.
He's just a junior. He'll be breaking some records there. Shots are now 17-11 in favor of the Minutemen. As we approach the 2-minute mark in this low-scoring first half, the kind of numbers on the board that Fairfield wants in terms of the low score.
Big time ISO out there.
Little's pass for Fiore, broken up, but they recovered.
Give it go.
Oh my, what a nice play. And they scored up the lead right there. Coming up with the goal, number 19, Kevin Lavelle, I believe, or was it Gene Tundo? It will be Lavelle coming up with the goal. And for Lavelle, his 32nd of the year.
This was a set play, big draw out, pass goes inside. Look at Lavelle, he's set right there, leaves him one-on-one with the goalie.
Nate Bowers a little late sliding to pick him up, number 25.
But it's a set play. I mean, Lavelle's just hanging there, waiting for the pass. The moment there's a draw, the ball is dumped to Lavelle. He's one-on-one with the goalie.
Ball raked around on the field. Nobody has possession yet. Falakis trying to get it, and it's recovered by the Minutemen, and they'll call a timeout right here as Paul Hutchin comes up with the ball for UMass.
Now wants to get on the board again. Minute 47 left.
So a 5-2 lead as the goal scored by Lavelle, and UMass now leading it 5-2 as you see them gathered around Greg Canella. And UMass with a mission, Arnie. Last year, very similar to a lot of people felt Hofstra this year. They had a fine record. They lost to Georgetown. At one point, they were just, I think, 1 or 2 losses the entire year, and they were denied a chance in the tournament. This year, Hofstra won something like 9 or 10 in a row, finished strong, beating UNC and Duke, and they're on the sidelines watching today and the rest of the tournament.
Well, I think next year that'll be rectified with the expansion in the tournament. Teams that were on the bubble, as they say, will in all likelihood get in. I think Canella is smart here, calling the timeout. He kind of wants to put this game behind him. If he can get one more goal before he goes in at halftime, then he can come back out in the second half. His team will come in with a lot of confidence. Fairfield's defense is playing real well. You got to break down that defense. You really have to break down that defense. Put one more goal on the board, and let's take it in the locker room.
Well, we mentioned that Lavelle has been real hot since being held scoreless against Yale, and a loss that UMass suffered. He's come on strong. He's had 4 goals against UMBC, 4 against Georgetown. And as we look at Billy Shell, he has been outstanding, 55% save percentage, and a record of 7-2 since he took over in the nets.
That's nice.
All right, right now UMass with possession, and it'll give us a chance to check in with Ed Ingles once again. Ed?
Greg Canella, the UMass coach, said, let's control the ball for the rest of the period. And also he said, when you'd like to hear on, he told his attackman, take one through and show. You can describe that.
Well, take one through. He's actually opened up the field. He's got one attackman playing completely off, so he's playing 5-on-5, which will give him more lanes, which means when you get more lanes, take one through and show. It didn't work there.
Passione denied that time by Kemp, who made a huge save there. Keep his club down by 3 here. And a goal would give him a tremendous lift. They'll probably hold for 1 perhaps here as they'll work it behind. Number 5 is Bayman, the twin brother, Garrett Bayman. He's out there right now with Bucher. Now they'll reset here as they make changes on the fly.
They've got enough time to try and put it in the goal.
Amazing Mr. Geluso getting playing time has come on, number 14. And that shot blocked. What a play by McFarland.
McFarland, that's what you want a defenseman to do.
30
you like
seconds.
a man with a big body to take that ball.
McFarland taking it down. He's had 4 goals this year, 3 assists, and got it off to his teammate there to Fallon. Oh, they worked it beautifully for the shot opportunity. Mark Torrey missing.
Mark Torrey missing, but the
I beg your pardon, it was Mark Morley.
Mark Morley. No, Kemp came out of the goal for Fairfield, and they thought they had him on his heels.
Time running down here. They move it smartly, and Passione gets the feed from his teammate up top. Dusty Smith, the assist, and Passione scores to make it his 33rd goal of the year.
This is the kind of ball movement we heard about UMass. Control the ball, move the ball around, get it down on a fast break, crisp passing. Now you want your team with this kind of a lead going in at halftime. Here's Passione's parked himself down on the crease, gets the feed, boom. It's a quick shot, 1-on-1 with the goal.
Well, he's developed into a complete player this year. We mentioned he's been taking face, but today they haven't used him on the face-offs that much, and they're resting him, and they've used and doing a great job today has been Craig Kahn. See on this face-off, I believe it is Kahn out there once again with Falakis.
He's doing a good job.
Kahn won it, and look at this with a big stick inside. Matt McFarland looking for his 5th goal of the year.
Hit the pipe.
And UMass really finishes with a flourish. Those 2 late goals really deflating this team. It was a 4-2 game. Lavelle made it 5-2, and Passione made it 6-2. So the big guys denied for most of the first half come up late to give him a 4-goal
Nothing
lead.
like a big stick shooting the ball. What can I tell you? Missed the pipe. He'll get a lot of guff, I should say, for that in the locker room during halftime.
Well, he is a three-time All-American. He was an outstanding football player at Garden City High School, as well as a lacrosse player. Let's go down to Ed Ingles, standing by on the field.
All right, guys, I'm with Greg Kiddo, the coach of UMass. Game is tied at 2-all. Fairfield seems to be doing a pretty good job of slowing down the tempo. UMass scores the next 4 goals. What happened?
Oh, we just, you know, we got our opportunities and we put them away, and that's the way we play. And, you know, their goalie made a couple good saves on us early, so fortunately for us, a couple went in.
Feeling good about the way it's going here at halftime?
I'm feeling good, but there's still 30 minutes to go. Fairfield's a very good team. They showed it in the first half.
Greg, thanks very much. That's Greg Kiddo, the coach of UMass. Back to Barry.
And as they battle for it, it's going to go over now to UMass.
Black interfered with white was what he was saying. Somebody stepped in away.
And the UMass, the Fairfield player, lost the ball. Number 41 there was Stephen Defoe, had it checked out of his stick. So we'll reset UMass for you offensively. They have gotten a big lift today from the second and third midfield units. And this is Fiore getting in tight. Use the left hand. You just saw him go right, use left. And at this level, players on these major teams can more adequately shoot both right and left.
At this level, you have to. Years ago, you could get away with just using one hand. There was a guy that played for Hobart years ago by the name of Beaver Draft and was all left. You can't do that now.
Oh, that time the shot by Kevin Lavelle couldn't find the net. And as they look to clear it here, this is Brian Whalen back to the keeper. Far side to Joe Bidet, and the pass eludes him. Cannot afford to do that when you're trailing.
But the other thing I want to add to that, Barry, is the technology of the game has helped a lot. The way the stick has developed, you know, when I first started playing, you played with wood sticks. It's quite a big difference. Nowadays, you've got better, they say better athletes, but you need both hands to compete in Division I.
Arnie, was that back when the French and Indian War took place?
No, that was before the French and Indian War.
You were one of those original Indian type guys with that mohawk haircut that you're sporting now. Here's Mark Morley. You hear the goalie calling out the defense right there. Morley got checked as he came around. And UMass comes up with that ground ball.
UMass controlling the ball. This is something Fairfield needs to do.
Good save on the shot by Don Little. And now they'll look to clear it more effectively. The sun could be a factor now as we go later in the afternoon. And that could have resulted in a bad clear earlier. But now they will clear the ball effectively here as they get it down. And Fairfield will settle it down.
Notice the goalie controlled the clear on there as he was calling it all the way.
Both the Fairfield goals have come from a third-line midfielder, as Salasso has come up with the goals. Justin Salasso, who had a total of 6 goals last year and none this year, coming up with a pair of goals. Number 14.
Well, it happens. Somebody's got to step up.
We haven't had Matt Euchre. They've denied him shot opportunities. They mentioned they only had 12 in that first half.
Well, that's why the defense is concentrating on Bucher, and all of a sudden somebody steps up and starts scoring.
Here's Scipione, first team all Great Western League. And let's see what the call be. I guess he had something wrong with his equipment.
Yeah, that's they'll chin strap or whatever. You don't want guys getting hurt out there.
Bobby Schwab out here watching the officials, former great college official.
There we go with that stack again. They've seen it work.
Yep.
They're just, it's a set play.
Yep.
Mass confusion, but that time it was picked off.
Little confusion there for Fairfield.
A.J. Capelli coming up with the steal.
And here's McFarland getting that opportunity again. Just like McClay, you're looking at, we've had an opportunity today to see 2 of the premier defensemen in the country.
Well, McFarland's a little more aggressive than McClay was. He's bigger, but he likes to shoot the ball. You know, we were taught as defensemen, you come downfield, nobody covers you, go and take the shot.
Fairfield aggressive, but again, the ground ball picked up by UMass. As they'll reset.
Bingo!
UMass Lundberg, the big guy, working it outside. This is Jeff Zawicki, who scored earlier. Zawicki got a big goal to make it 4-2, you recall.
Yeah, that was a big goal.
Check.
Nice look inside. Zawicki with the quick feed. Boy, to Passione, these guys are right on it.
UMass with all 4 shots this quarter, now with a 25-12 edge, as you might expect.
Well, they're feeling their own now. Look at the way they're moving the ball around.
Lundberg working it up top. This is Dusty Smith. The senior has come up with 2 goals early in the game. Dusty with 10 on the year.
You're on him, Holland. Left.
Here I'm calling out, you're on your own. And here's Little. And throws it away. He's trying to get it to Mark Morley.
Somebody didn't make a cut, is what happened. Morley didn't make it. Ball was there, but he wasn't.
Morley, a guy with over 100 points, 113 points. He and Passione have had tremendous careers, and both seniors, hoping to continue to play on. Next week, the winner of this game will play Johns Hopkins. And there are the shot numbers.
Wow, 25-12.
That's the second bad clear.
Unforced errors.
I'm again looking to see if I'm not trying to make any excuses for them, if that sun is affecting them.
No, I think it's a little jittery. I don't think they're, you know, the defense is tired, Barry. That's what happened. They played the whole first half. You get tired, you start making mistakes. You know, you don't want to, you're in top condition as an athlete, but you lose something, your coordination goes a little bit, and you're tired.
Fairfield just 9 for 15 in clears, and you like to generally be around 75%. It's a good, so they're not doing a good job clearing the ball, and every time you don't clear it, you give the ball back to these guys.
And you go back and play defense.
Again, you get tired. Nice look up top, and they score. Donnie Little with a pass from behind, and that was Gene Tundo, the guy who feeds so well as he picks up his 22nd assist of the year.
Well, again, Don Little, you've got they were always talking about the cutters coming down from UMass. UMass just got the cut. Don Little came down, Tundo looking for it, feeds it in, boom, quick shot. That was very nice.
Tundo's dad is a coach in Orchard Park. He's a tremendous playmaker, a freshman, and adding to the list of offensive weapons that this team has. He leads the team in assists now with 22, and he had 4 assists in the win over Georgetown.
Orchard Park now Buffalo, the Buffalo area becoming a hotbed of lacrosse.
Orchard Park stunned the lacrosse world in New York State, winning the championship a couple of years ago.
Fairfield getting a fast break.
That was Vlahakis who had the opportunity. Peter Vlahakis, sophomore, who has scored just 1 goal this year, among the leaders in the country in faceoffs and ground balls. So now Fairfields have to open it up a little bit more, Arnie, to, you know, you're down 5, you know, you don't want to hold the ball for 2 minutes, so they may be forced to try to generate something a little quicker here.
Well, there's still time. I mean, that's my favorite saying, there's always time. However, you know, go into your game plan, and when all else fails, then you got to force it. But right now, let's go. They're going back into what they like to do, is control the ball and try to get some goals on the board.
You know, Matt Bucher has been totally shut down by McFarland. If you're watching him, very similar to what we saw a few weeks ago when Greenhall was denied by the big defenseman Farrell of Princeton.
Yeah.
Just locking him off completely because they know he is their big-time scorer. And right now, this is Tom Werney inverting behind. He's got a short stick on him.
And here we go back into that same game plan, mass confusion.
He's got Hutchin on him, and they break out of that stack. Now Bucher's come out after playing behind. Still McFarland stays with him all over the field.
Oh, yeah.
Here's Werney against Hutchin. As we mentioned, Paul Hutchin has tremendous speed out of Lake Forest, Illinois. That's the matchup behind. Werney out of Somers, good-looking sophomore.
Now he's screaming invert because you're on a short stick. There it is. No shot there.
Bucher's had 4 shots today. Scipione gets a pick again from McCarthy. Again, they slid off that nicely. Here's Werney rifling it wide, but they head back up.
You know, Werney leaves his feet. I've always said that if a guy leaves his feet, you lose power with the shot. It's tough to really put it in. It's a nice shot. He's going for the corner. It's got you're losing a little power once you leave the ground.
Right foot, good. X.
Working it behind. Fairfield with it. Garrett Bayman broken up out near midfield. Bayman will pick it up.
That was a nice pickup. Nice play by the defense to keep the ball in play. looking for the trailer, and you got to hit those passes. You got to keep the ball moving. Otherwise, you go back and reset. You got to reset your play.
Now Troy Bayman working behind the cage. Haven't mentioned his name much today. Has 14 goals. He's the twin brother of Garrett Bayman. They're both out there right now. And the defense has been very solid for UMass. And this was a UMass team that gave up a lot of goals to Syracuse a couple of games ago. They were stunned by Syracuse. Good check from behind that time by number 44, Matt McFarland.
Again, over the head. That check is when you're 6'4", you can do that stuff.
And UMass trying to take advantage. Passione, who's had a couple today. Now to settle it down as they wait for the midfielders to come on. And Zawicki comes on. That good-looking second midfield with Dusty Smith, 22. Zawicki, number 9. Under 7 minutes to go here. In case you're just tuning in, Fairfield was very much in this game in the first half. It was a 2-2 game, and then Passione made it 3-2, and they have scored 5 unanswered goals since that time. Good check from behind, no penalty, but a crease violation called
in the crease
on Mark Morley.
I thought he was going to get him on a ward, but that didn't happen, so he got him on stepping into the crease.
Let's see if they can do a better
job.
job.
Morley. Stepping right into the crease, the save is made, and there he's in the crease. They could have called a push in which case it would have been UMass ball, but no.
I was going to say, let's see if they do a better job clearing the ball, and they do this time. One of the few times here they have done a good job in the second half. Finity brought it down. And again, they have been held off the board since Justin Geluso scored early in that second quarter to make it a 2-2 game. They're not a high-scoring team, as we mentioned, Fairfield, averaging 9 a game, but solid defensively.
Well, it's a deliberate offense.
Yep.
So you're not going to get it on fast breaks. You're going to get it on set plays. And sooner or later in this game, if they keep going along that way, you pointed it out earlier, and I said there's always time. Well, time is going to start to run out.
Yep, no question about it. They've got some backup midfielders, and this is Troy Bayman on the attack with 14 goals playing outside. Keith Ergo out of Gonzaga High School. Potomac, Maryland, goes down as he was being checked that time.
I'm surprised that wasn't a push.
So
they're letting him play. Yeah, he got away with one.
Our crew led by Ed Schreiber letting him play today. And after coming up with the ball, Zawicki says, I'm going to take that shot.
You like that underhanded shot? That's a nice Canadian shot.
Yep. He's had 2 against Hofstra, 2 against Georgetown.
That's in tight.
Yep.
Get that stick down right by your side, get a lot more power to it.
Donnie Little up top to Lavelle.
Cook, 22.
A lot of ways, if you remember Georgetown with the high-powered offense last year, both Georgetown and UMass very similar, and they played a very exciting game this year as they did last year, because they'll run and gun. They'll run up and down the field. It's an exciting kind of game. Similar to Hofstra and Syracuse, those are the run and gun teams. Intercepted that time.
Well, there's an important point you made, is that UMass is showing depth at midfield, where if you're going to run and gun, you need the 2 or 3 midfields. Right. You know, you can't just get away with playing your top midfield and then have your second spell for a while. You need some depth. That's what Syracuse has if you're going to use the Syracuse style.
Yep, good point, Arnie. Shots are 7-2 in favor of the Minutemen here in this quarter. Overall 28-13, and they lead on the scoreboard 7-2. Nice speed and blistered home Mark Morley with his team leading 36th goal of the year. The senior from Canton, Ohio, makes it an 8-2 game.
Mark Morley just parked himself right in the hole, and he gets the feed from Little and just fires it home. I mean, when you're parked there with a shot like that, Little will come down. Morley, there he is. Hi, how are you? Here I am. I'm over here. Oh, you found me. Score.
Well, Morley came in with 15 goals in his last 4 games, and that's his 36th of the year. And he could be a very important factor next week against that defensive-minded Hopkins team. And, of course, Dave Petramala here scouting this game, and he's saying, can I get a tape? Can I get a tape?
Timeout Fairfield.
Timeout Stags. They trail 8-2. We'll return in just a moment.
450 years of Jesuit tradition are woven into a Fairfield University education, an education characterized by academic excellence and service to the community. Fairfield's success is fostered by a caring faculty that knows their students as individuals. Located just an hour from New York City, Fairfield combines a park-like campus conducive to learning with the city's cultural and career advantages. Fairfield University, where education reflects the challenges and opportunities of a fast-changing world.
And we're back, and Arnie, did you know that 26 Fairfield University students have won the prestigious Fulbright Scholarship Award in the past 9 years? And also, did you know that Fairfield University offers 27 graduate programs in arts and sciences, business, nursing, education, allied professions, and engineering? And Arnie, you could even go back for a little graduate school work.
I could, and I should.
All right, here we go now with UMass in possession.
Flash,
and they take it over here. And work it behind right now with the lead. All right, UMass looking to add to the lead. Remember, this is a team of the leading scoring teams in the country.
This is also a team that wants to make a statement, Barry. Let's not, you know, I know that a lot of people took it hard last year.
Well,
so they want to come into the tournament and they want to be known as somebody that you're going to have to contend with.
You know, a lot of people said they couldn't win the big game, and you know they had an opportunity last year, lost to Georgetown. They were undefeated, I believe, at the time they lost. And again, they were blown out by Syracuse. People saying, how good is this team? Maybe their record is a little bit, you know, questionable, even though they have an outstanding record, 11-3. Look at this scramble, and they come up with the ball again. Dusty Smith, who's played so impressively to Lundberg. Great feed by Lundberg. Oh, picture perfect. And Mark Morley continues his hot hand. What a feed by Lundberg.
Lundberg, for a guy that big, showing that kind of athleticism to Morley. I mean, Lundberg comes up with the ball, gets the feed in. There he is. Look at that catch. There he is, and he sees Morley cutting across. He gets him the ball one-on-one with the goalie. I mean, that's impossible to defend against. Nice ball movement. Of course, that all started with Dusty Smith up top, getting it.
So impressed by this second midfield. You know, 6 midfielders we've seen out there. They could start that second midfield on many Division I teams.
And who can move the ball? That's the important thing. They've got skills in action here.
Oh my, Donnie Little off the face-off, and they continue to pour it on here now, 10-2, as they have scored 8 unanswered goals. Little's second goal of the game, and for Donnie Little, his 15th of the year.
See, now it's interesting because Don Little makes a classic lacrosse move in that he comes down with the ball. Now watch him. He'll shield the ball and then turn. He hides it from the goalie and then he shoots underneath. That turn with his body keeps the ball out of sight from the goalie, allowing him to put it wherever he wants.
2 goals in 15 seconds. Lahakis won the face-off. Can his team come up with the ball? Look how they're harassing there, and the guy who lost the face-off said, I'm going to come back and see if I can get the ball, Craig Kahn. And that time they forced the ball out of bounds.
Forced the ball out of bounds. It's going to be Fairfield ball. Fairfield cannot be demoralized here. I know it seems like an impossible task, and you've got to run to make up for it. Let's see if they can adjust their style and see what they can bring to the table.
You know, the Stags have had a club program from back in the 70s. They became a varsity team only 9 years ago, and under Ted Spencer in his 7th year, they've made dramatic strides and have recruited effectively. As you heard earlier, they're going to have a beautiful new field and lights on it next year. So Fairfield is making a statement about the sport of lacrosse, as we heard from Gene Doris at halftime. And right now they're trying to make a little bit of a statement to try to get some goals here as they trail. All right, why don't we check in with Ed Ingles with 2:20 to go here in the third quarter and take it
Ted
away.
Spence out trying to do it the last time up at Fairfield is not lose his players in terms of feeling like this game is over. He kept saying it's not over, but we got to move better defensively and we got to open up the offense some. And you saw some of that the last couple of minutes when UMass scored those 2 goals quickly. They really using their quickness and they're really victimizing a tiring Fairfield defense. Back to you, Barry.
All right, Ed, and continue the rundown field here as UMass with new players in the game. Number 11 is Kevin Glenz. Interesting story. His dad, of course, Larry Glenz, the longtime coach at Lynbrook High School.
Really?
And how many great players Lynbrook has produced. And Arnie, you go back to the father of Greg Cannella as we get an opportunity in tight. Great feed, and Don Little comes up with yet another goal. He has the hat trick, his 3rd of the game and 16th of the year.
Well, again, off-ball movement. You cannot stand around and expect to score goals. Little moved away from his man, broke towards the goal, gets a nice pass, is one-on-one with the goalie and puts it home.
Well, this is the kind of offense, tiring defense they're going to take advantage of because they have so many weapons. And Donnie Little, one of the seniors on this club, who's had 9 goals in his last 6 games coming in. Now 12 goals in his last 7. As we mentioned, midfield attack, they get you from so many different areas. And right now the shots are 32-13 in favor of Massapequa. And ground balls, UMass dominating there right now, 26-14. But the Stags come up with the ball. Ball checked. And UMass loses it. Out front coming up with the ball was Brian Whalen. And with 1:17 to go, horn sounds. We'll get a stoppage right here. And a reminder that today's doubleheader is brought to you by J.P. Morgan Chase, proud supporters of NCAA lacrosse. J.P. Morgan, with a long tradition of sponsoring philanthropic and sporting events to enhance the communities it serves. J.P. Morgan Chase, the leading bank for business. And right now leading on the scoreboard 10-2, the UMass Minutemen with 8 unanswered goals. You know, I mentioned Kevin Glenz in the game. He's a sophomore. It was Greg Cannella's dad who started the Lynbrook program, and Tony Seaman was the coach for Greg Cannella as we get another goal put in by Chris Fiore. Tony Seaman and Larry Glenn. So now he's coaching Larry Glenn's son here, Greg Cannella.
Kevin Lavelle feeding Fiore. There it is. Comes across. Fiore just makes a move. Goes to his left. Takes the shot. That's got to be a tired defense out there. They've been playing defense all game.
Well, you saw
again Fiore with the hot shot. You put it on the ground, especially on a grass field with a little bit of, and remember, a game was played on this field before this one. It's worn down a little bit. That ball is going to skip.
You saw Kevin Coughlin, number 20, slip right there and give him the opportunity to take an open shot.
Right.
So Fairfield cannot come up with the ground ball, and here they come once again, looking for another goal, hitting the pipe that time, Passione. You can hear it from way up here as the ball goes out of bounds. It'll still be UMass ball.
UMass just dominated. Really dominated.
Well, with just 35 seconds to go, it has been a big 3rd quarter. Remember, this game was 6-2 as we see that last pipe hit. This was a 6-2 game. It was a 4-2 game with about a minute to go in the first half.
And then they opened it up. UMass opened it right up.
Those 2 goals,
those 2 quick goals
by Passione, or by Zawicki and Lavelle,
yeah.
Here's another chance, and making it happen right there. Dusty Smith with his 3rd goal of the game. He now goes to 11 goals on the year, and the onslaught continues. Tremendous standstill shooting.
Dusty Smith getting the feed, goes low to high. Comes down underneath and goes to the upper corner. That was a nice shot.
He scored some big goals, we mentioned, so they now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 scorers with at least 11 goals or more.
Well, was it you who said to me in the first quarter we have all these high-powered scorers and they haven't, but it's been the second midfield that's been doing all the scoring? Well, my goodness gracious, they certainly came alive.
Lundberg picks up his 2nd assist of the game. You know, back in '97, their last appearance for UMass. They beat Hofstra, then played Princeton very tough down at Hofstra. I remember we televised that game. It was 11-9. That was their last appearance. This is the third appearance under Greg Cannella in the NCAA tournament. 95 they lost to Princeton. And we're coming down to the final seconds, and that is it. So a huge third quarter as they score a big round. 5 goals in the quarter. They lead it now 11-2.
Get the party started with Now That's What.
You were talking earlier today, Joe Paterno played football here.
I think he was a quarterback here, was he not?
I wasn't around at that time, Artie.
Neither was I.
Well,
something I heard.
UMass trying to advance along with Cornell. In case you're just tuning in, they beat Stony Brook 12-3 today. Justin Sinar with a very strong game in goals. That Cornell defense, #1 now in the country, gave up just 3 goals today. And UMass in that third quarter outscoring Fairfield 7-0. And they have now run off, Arnie, 11 unanswered goals. It was a 2-2 game.
Right.
Let's see if a lot of the reserves will get in here for UMass, you would think, with a score 13-2. A lot of hungry players out there.
Well, you never know. Barry Fairfield could make a run. You never know.
A run. Here's Matt McFarland off on the wing, and they'll score once again. Passione now with his third goal as he joins Don Little with 3. Morley has 2. Smith has 2. And let's see that one once again right there. Number 3 for Passione, his 34th of the year.
McFarland brings it down, waits to see who's going to come out, just gets it over to Passione. As a defenseman, you're taught if nobody picks you up, you go straight to the goal. The moment somebody picks you up, you pass to the side the man has come from. Found Passione. Guy was hoping for a goal.
Passione with his third goal, 34th is what he said of the year. McFarland with the assist, 4 goals, 4 assists for the All-American. So a couple of Long Island kids from Farmingdale and Garden City combining there. And once again, coming up with the face-off, this is Craig Kahn from Ontario hitting the pipe.
No, he didn't hit the pipe. He hit the goalie. He hit him in the face mask.
I heard that noise.
Yeah, that's a goalie. Stepped into the crease.
Poor C.J. Kemp has been under siege here. This junior will be back next year and has done a terrific job for the Fairfield Stags. You know, Arnie, Fairfield had so many close games this year. Won a couple in overtime. They've been a Cinderella, not a Cinderella team, but a cardiac team as they are unable to clear effectively. 5-0 in 1-goal games this year. Won 2 in overtime. And their last game, they were disappointed. They had already clinched the conference, beat Notre Dame, and then lost to North Carolina in their final home game, giving up 15 goals in that game. And right now, they find themselves on the short end of a big score right here.
Yeah, but they made it to the dance, Barry.
Yep.
That's important. You make it to the dance, that's important.
Absolutely. And Ted Spencer against his alma mater will be 0-4 when this one is over, as we get a timeout taken right here. Timeout taken by, no, an offside. I thought.
Yeah, it was an offside call.
Right, far official.
I say it's funny because all the players started moving towards the sideline. You were thinking the same thing, and then the ref is showing the offside sign.
Tommy Fallon for UMass clears the ball again. An underrated player, but you talk to the coaching staff, they love this junior. Why not? When you're 6'4", 240, and you run a 4'7", 40.
Oh man.
And you've got a great stick, and you're mentally and physically tough.
I ran a 4'7", 40 once. I was dreaming, but I ran a 4'7".
Oh, was that in a little cart?
Yeah. Downhill with a wind behind me.
Don Little up top. Oh my, he gets number 4, Donnie Little, saying, I want to fatten my numbers up. I want to get up to 20. He's got 4 today. And again, 13 in his last 7 games.
That low to high shot. Watch him crank it up. He's going to the upper corner. Now he goes to the side of the goalie. Those are tough to see. Again, when you shoot sidearm like that or sideways, go low to high, a lot of the shot in the stick is masked by your body. It's tough for the goalie to pick it up.
So it is now a 14-2 game as Donnie Little at Clifton Park comes up with a 15-2. Our scoreboard not working correctly here, and they've been coming so fast and furious. Hard to keep up with the goals. So after giving up 15 to North Carolina, Fairfield really
That's from behind. It's going to be Fairfield ball.
Getting the ball back right here. And while we have a moment, note that, did you know, Arnie, that Fairfield University is consistently ranked among the top universities in the North by U.S. News and World Report. And it is also the home of the Carl and Dorothy Bennett Center for Judaic Studies.
Oh, really?
I know you'd appreciate that, Arnie.
Mm-hmm. Did you bring my application, by the way?
Now that I mentioned that. All right, as Fairfield plays it outside McCarthy, let's check in once again with the ever-present Ed Ingles.
Well, you know, Barry, before this became a scoring orgy for UMass here in the last two periods, it really was their defense that did the job. Number 44 is on the field now. Matt McFarland out of Garden City, New York, has been really the anchor of this Minutemen defense this season. Also leads the team in ground balls. McFarland has consistently shut down some of the nation's top offensive players. For example, he limited Navy's A.D. McKinnon to a goal, no assist. McFarland held the nation's top scorer, Hartford's Brian LaMastro, to 2 goals and no assist. And he also limited Harvard's Matt Prim to a goal and an assist. So the fact that he's holding down Matt Buechler today, holding him scoreless for Fairfield, no big surprise, because McFarland, big, strong, smart, and he really knows the player he's going up against and takes away his strengths.
All right, Eddie, thanks very much. And Arnie, Eddie makes a good point there, because there's a lot of goals scored in lacrosse. Often the defensive side of the game is overlooked. But when you look at when Syracuse was upset by Cornell, yeah, they scored 15 goals. Yeah, they got goals from Greenlaw, and they got it from Red. But it was the tremendous job done by Ryan McClay, stopping Josh Kaufman, the All-American, holding him to 1 goal in that game, or 1 assist. That was the story in that game.
Absolutely, Barry. And there are interesting stories floating around. Defense is extremely underappreciated. A lot of people think that high-scoring games attract crowds. In this sense, when you see who's held to what, and as Ed just pointed out, what McFarland has done all year, it's extremely significant to take a look at it. I mean, I understood that when Cornell was beaten by Princeton, McClay was completely thrown off by Ryan Boyle because Boyle slowed down his tempo.
Yeah, that was the only time this year that Cornell, as we recount what they've done this year and the great season they've had, they lost to Georgetown to open the season, won 9 straight. And then Princeton was the only team, as we look at this feed off to the wing here, and it's broken up. Mark Torrey looked like he was going to get a good scoring opportunity.
Yeah, he didn't let the ball go when he should have.
45 for UMass. Ryan Connolly got it up. And let's see if they'll reset here. Some of the subs are getting into the game right now for UMass. Number 11 is Kevin Glens. I mentioned Kevin, and in tight missing is Morley as he misses the cage. Kevin is a sophomore with 6 goals on the year, coming off a 3-goal effort against Rutgers. Very unselfish player. Sees the field, and to mention the great players that Lynbrook on Long Island has produced under Larry Glens, and you got the Doniger boys, a couple of products there.
One at Hopkins, one at Princeton.
Well, the Princeton youngster took the year off.
Oh, did he?
The reasons that Princeton hasn't been scoring a whole lot of goals, but he's going to be back next year. But his brother's playing. Oh, just look at that once again. Kevin Lavelle turning the defender, and Lavelle comes up with yet another goal.
And there you can see a natural attack move. As I mentioned, Kevin Lavelle had been an attackman in high school. He'll get the feed right in front of the crease. He just turns, beats his man, and shoots.
Well, Lavelle's second, 33rd of the year, and Kevin Lavelle continues to add to the points. He's got 107 points in his career, just a junior. Mark Morley, as we mentioned, also with 115 points coming in today. 4 more goals for him, so he's closing in on 120. You talk about goaltending, and of course UMass has had a great tradition of goaltending. Probably the greatest is Sal Locascio.
I don't know you were going to say that.
I don't know, you're right on page. It's so nice to have a guy to work with that's thinking on the same page. Arnie, we've been talking about a lot of the other teams today. We talked about Hofstra not getting it. John Danowski's club did a terrific job this year, a very exciting team. Tommy Kessler and that team, denied an opportunity. A lot of people questioned that Duke got in with 6 losses. And one of the teams that played so well this year, didn't get in 9-4 record, 4 losses by a goal, was the Maryland Terrapins. As Coach Cottle, who took over, came over from Loyola for Dick Adele, who retired. Very disappointed that his club did not get in. They, too, a super defensive team, giving up under 7 goals a game.
Well, I think there's a lot of looking for parity around. I think the automatic qualifiers changed. But again, I think the NCAA has recognized that and is certainly rectifying it by increasing the field next year, going to 16 teams. Now there's a good lacrosse hit. Will make things interesting to open it up a little more. I mean, if they get even bigger, then I think because as the game expands, you will get more parity and you will open it up a lot more. Maryland, I think people are disappointed because it is a perennial. It's one of those teams that was always in. But Dave Cottle's a great coach and they will be back.
Feed behind here. Onto the crease, and another goal, as putting it home was Kevin Glenns. I believe it was number 11. Yep, Kevin Glenns coming up with the goal, the sophomore from the aforementioned Lynbrook High School. Oh, check that. It is the feed in front.
Yeah, it is Kevin Glenns. It comes to Glenns, he's jumping on the crease, and boom. Yeah. Right across. I mean, the kind of ball movement you have, anticipation, I mean, that's sort of like an alley-oop that you see in the NBA. There's Glenns right there, feeding it right in, anticipation, beautiful ball movement. UMass is preparing themselves for the next level. That's obvious.
There's a look at Kevin Glenns as a new goalie has come in for Fairfield. We'll try to pick up the number for you. It looks like it is Corey Gibbons, the freshman from Farmingdale High School out of North Massapequa. Bobby Hartenrath, the coach at Farmingdale, and what a tremendous career he's had. And Bobby Hartenrath has produced so many great players out of Farmingdale High School. John Danowski's son, by the way, the Hofstra coach, is a brilliant lacrosse player and a terrific football player at Farmingdale High School. So right now, Fairfield putting some subs in the game as well. And this will be a real test, Arnie, to work our players in the game right now. Number 41 is Steve Devoy, who brought it down. We should say correctly, Steve Defoe. And right now, Fairfield with the ball. This was a 2-2 game at one point. They have scored, what, 14 unanswered goals? And they'd like to get on the board here. Swing it behind. But, you know, Arnie, the two teams that we saw here today, although they've been outmatched today by teams with great traditions, Cornell and UMass in lacrosse, it's good for lacrosse to see teams like Stony Brook, who've had a program in Division I for the last 14 years.
Like Fairfield, like Manhattan.
Now, another point is that a lot of these schools don't give out the full allotment of scholarships. I think it's 12.5 in lacrosse, and some of them give out, I think Fairfield only 9 at this point. But, you know, to see so many more schools getting into the picture, hopefully, and I don't know if this will happen very soon, this weekend the U.S. ILA championships were played out in St. Louis. Now people wonder what that is, Arnie, and maybe you could tell the folks about it.
That's the club, you know, you've got teams like Michigan playing, which is interesting because Ohio State.
Oh my,
nice
they
shot
finally
with
get
a
it.
Penalty.
Matt Bucher coming up with the goal. Number 30 on the year, and a slashing penalty after the hit. So Matt Bucher gets their third goal, breaks the run. We'll be back with more. You're watching NCAA Lacrosse.
I remember my first time up. Nothing like it. Yeah. Almost there, believe it or not. Break time. Coke? Let go. Let me get that. I love his job!
450 years of Jesuit tradition are woven into a Fairfield University education, an education characterized by academic excellence and service to the community. Fairfield's success is fostered by a caring faculty that knows their students as individuals. Located just an hour from New York City, Fairfield combines a park-like campus conducive to learning with the city's cultural and career advantages. Fairfield University, where education reflects the challenges and opportunities of a fast-changing world.
And we're back. Happy freckled face of a youngster with Mother's Day coming up tomorrow. A lacrosse fan waving in the brilliant sunshine here today. beautiful scene here in Providence, Rhode Island, Brown University. Brown had a real fine season this year. You know, for the first
real
time,
run in the Ivy.
Yeah, for the first time, Princeton was beaten for the first time in 37 games by an Ivy League opponent, and kept Cornell's streak of the most consecutive wins in an Ivy League intact. Richie Moran's club did that several years ago. But Brown, Yale, which had a fine season in its own right, they were the team, of course, that beat Princeton.
Yeah.
Yale, Brown, Princeton, Cornell had very good teams this year.
Yeah, I know people were worried. They were saying, well, Princeton may not win the Ivy. Oh my goodness, what are we going to do? The world will fall apart. It was just a very, very interesting year in the Ivy League.
Getting a little rough out there. A lot of the reserves saying, we want to make things happen. Baudet picked the ball up, and they'll call a timeout. So Ted Spencer calling a timeout. And, you know, Ted Spencer has an assistant, Andy Tower, who plays professionally for the Bridgeport team in the
Bridgeport
Major
Barrage,
League.
yeah.
And they've played often on this field, at least Andy in his college days, and of course Ted. Let's take a look at the bracket. We've been talking about the tournament, and you'll see Cornell with a 12-3 win will go on to play Dom Starcia, the 3 and 6 seeds. UMass, the 8 seed, will go on to play Johns Hopkins, the number 1 seed. And on the other half of the bracket, Arnie, you've got Georgetown playing Manhattan tomorrow, and the other game, Duke at Hobart.
And Duke, yes.
And they'll go on to play at Hofstra next week, and they will play
Syracuse and Princeton.
Syracuse and Princeton. So some great lacrosse coming up in Johns Hopkins next Sunday.
Well, it's like we said at
Hofstra next Saturday.
It's like we said at the opening. It's the usual suspects. However, again, it's a wide open tournament. UMass, I think, is going to be a factor. They're going to be a very interesting team to watch.
And Arnie, of course, Rutgers will be hosting the finals once again this year. And next year, as we look at the opportunity, and they cash in. And the little guy, Bayman, comes up with the goal. Garrett Bayman, he's a transfer from Sacred Heart, came to join his brother Troy on the Stags program. He comes up with his 8th goal of the year.
But you'll see a wider offense here. Not everything is bunched up, and Bayman's cutting down and gets the feed from his brother. His brother Bayman, Troy, feeds him in and shoots it home. I mean, it's once you open up this offense as opposed to running that stack, which worked. But the thing about the stack is you get used to it, and then you can anticipate it. You know what it's going to be.
Well, who's going to, at the dinner table tonight, they're going to say, I fed you. Are you going to, you know, Troy's going to say, I gave you that feed to brother. Brotherly love right there, and they come up with the ball once again.
Well, it's interesting to watch brothers play because, I mean, they played in the backyard for years, so they know each other's moves.
But Arnie, this is a sport that so many brothers have played together and competed, and it is a real family sport, if you will. You look over the history of lacrosse, and right now Fairfield working some subs in. Tommy Cook, number 23, out there, the sophomore, actually junior from Liverpool, another fine program in upstate New York. Fast kid, hasn't scored yet this year. Love to do it in an NCAA game. This is Tommy trying to make a feed, bounces high in the air, far side, and it is recovered by Tommy Fallon.
Nice pass up, nice clear.
As we said, here's a guy that has been an unsung somewhat on this team. Rifled high and wide, missing the new goalkeeper that's been in. And that last shot by Gene Tundo. Gene, of course, the playmaker on this team. Coming around and getting the shot on the backup goalie who was in the game right there was Corey Gibbons.
And then Gibbons got his clock clean right after he had the shot.
Welcome to the game, and that'll wake you up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And back they come. Cook swings it behind, under 5 minutes to go. Here's Bucher getting the shot off.
Nice backup.
Stop right. Stop right.
Kemp has been relieved, but Shell still in the game for UMass. Now, UMass making a couple of defensive changes on the fly here. Checking into the game. We'll pick it up for you in a moment.
Stop right.
Looks like Justin Walker.
Red here. Red 4. Red 4. Justin. Red. Stop center.
Under 4:20 to go. Fairfield with the ball.
X, red 4.
We mentioned
red 4, wing. Check.
Fairfield looking to get something going here with Bayman check.
That was
good
a
save
nice
by
stop.
Shell.
That was a nice play by Shell. Came up and just blocked the shot with his stick. Never even really got the shot off.
Sean Gribben back in goal. Let's see if they test him here. 3:50 to go. And still in the game is Passione. You kind of wonder that some of these guys might not have come out of the game. You know, it gives them, you know, let up a little bit with the huge lead that they have. 16 goals they've scored. Now it looks like Lundberg, but when you start to relieve, you get those third midfield unit in or second. These guys that could score, as we've seen already.
That makes them a big-time program.
Kunkel has come into the game. Derek Kunkel, the new goalie for UMass. And that name, a very familiar name in lacrosse. Derek Kunkel out of Ward Melville High School. And that is the high school that Jason Yellen attended. Joe Cuso, one of the all-time high school coaches. He may have 600-700 wins, Joe Cuso. Perennial New York State champions. They've struggled a little this year in goal. They've got a young man by the name of Freud in goal this year. There's a big offensive team. Northport has become the dominant team on the high level in Suffolk County out on Long Island. And just beat Ward Melville by a goal recently.
Well, Northport really, that's a good program.
Yeah. They won the state championship last year. Bounced wide that time by number 17, Brian Holland.
George Searing's the coach out of Northport, former.
And the attendance, Arnie, maybe you want to play these numbers in the New York State Lottery. 3, 7, 2, 5.
You say George Searing was the coach of Yorktown before he went to Northport.
That's right, one of the coaches at Northport.
Yep.
Terrific program. UMass has a goalie, as we mentioned. Derek Kunkel is the goalie. There's a look at Derek. Hasn't played a whole lot this year. Kunkel has seen limited playing time. And they've actually used 3 goalies this year. This may be his first. He's played 11-12 minutes, a couple of games this year. He's made 3 saves, given up 1 goal. They started the season out with Rob Schneider in goal. He was the senior, replacing their All-American from last year. And they were not pleased. They wanted more of a vocal leader back there. And this kid, Shell, has stepped up. He's fearless. He's good outside the cage, as we've seen. And, you know, UMass, which has shown us a decent defense. Fallon and McFarland, very good. And Capelli, a senior, who's a first-year starter, has done a good job. But they certainly will be tested next week. Although Johns Hopkins, not as explosive an offensive team. It's going to be interesting.
It's going to be interesting to see Hopkins' defense. Exactly. I mean, it will really be, Hopkins' defense will be tested, but Hopkins has a strong defense.
Bucher working behind. And again, UMass has made changes defensively, try to pick up some of the new defensemen in the game for UMass.
A lot of the kinks that Hopkins had last year have been worked out.
Chris Gervat is in the game defensively for UMass, number 13. And now we're trying to come upfield. Getting it back is Scipione. We're ragged right now as we hit the final minute of play here.
Now UMass has to get into the offensive zone and keep it there. They're just going to try, you know, 1 minute to go.
And UMass working it. 23 is Tundo. Well,
you hear them,
again,
there's a
slashing penalty. And if you're Greg Cannella, you're just going to hang on to the ball here. There's no reason to go to the cage.
Well, Cannella was just yelling out, take it behind, run behind, just kill the time.
Cannella, who was an assistant under John Espy, really got his coaching career started there, got a master's degree at Stony Brook. I want to thank both Fairfield and Stony Brook today. If you're a lacrosse fan and loved watching the games, it's because these 2 schools have done a tremendous job with their programs. They wanted the public to see what a job they've done in the sport of lacrosse, and we commend them today, Arnie, for helping make these games possible.
Yeah, so now I got to tell you, Barry, it's always fun doing the games with you and doing an NCAA lacrosse tournament.
So there's the horn sounds, the Battle of New England, won by UMass. But it was a very close game for about
the first half.
27 minutes of this afternoon. First half, Greg Cannella picking up the victory. His 64th as he beats his fellow UMass guy. Good friends, Ted Spencer and Greg Cannella. And Little with 4 goals, Passione with 3. They lead the way. And a nice pat on the back of the head to that freshman goalie, Billy Shell. And when you get a goalie as a freshman to step up, and you've got 4 years or 3 more years to look ahead, you know you've got some
Well,
strength.
you know you've got something there. And you get a goalie as a freshman, like the kid playing for Virginia. The first time we saw him, he was a freshman. So, I mean, when a freshman steps up and does a job, it gives you 4 years to look forward to.
Now UMass advances next week, and Fairfield's season is over. Matt Bucher winds up the afternoon with a goal. We'll return with our post-game recap in a moment.
One by one, they all went down. And now it's down to this. Lewis Tyson is on pay-per-view. Don't miss it Saturday, June 8th. Contact your pay-per-view provider to order. Where will you be when history goes down? The bow. Resistance becomes strength. Becomes power. The power to change and reshape your entire body. This is Bowflex, an entire gem-in-one easy-to-use machine. So powerful, it delivers over 60 health club quality exercises with up to 410 pounds of resistance in any room in your home. Strength training with Bowflex is so effective that we guarantee you'll get the results you want in 6 weeks or less. One simple workout. 20 minutes a day, 3 days a week. Bowflex is real. The results are real. And you can own one with no money down and payments as low as $33 per month. Call right now for a free video and brochure. Bowflex, the power is yours.
But it's brought to you by Prime, the official ball of the NCAA Lacrosse Championships, and by J.P. Morgan Chase, the leading bank for business, and by STX, the fastest game on 2 feet. And we're back at Brown University as this sunny afternoon. The fans have seen a couple of impressive performances by UMass and Cornell. They advance in the tournament, the seeded teams. And that was the most goals, the 17th scored by UMass in an NCAA game. It breaks the previous record of 16 set way back in 1986 in a win over New Hampshire. Speaking of UMass, let's go down to the field. Ed Ingles standing by with the UMass coach and one of the stars in the game.
Right, the coach of UMass. And Greg, your team just set a record for most goals scored in an NCAA tournament game.
That's great to hear. You know, we try to put some points on the board all year long, and fortunately for us, we had some opportunities in the second half, and we took advantage of them. Guys like Donnie right here really did a great job today. Yeah, Don Little with 4 goals. We're going to talk to him in a minute. You broke this game open at 2-2. You scored 15 unanswered goals. Fairfield at 2-2 seemed to be controlling tempo better, using that picket fence offense. Was that causing some problems? Yeah, it was. You know, they were holding on to the ball a little bit, but you know, our defense, you really have to give them credit. They played a great game, and they allowed us, you know, to settle down and continue to shoot the ball. Billy Shell was excellent in the cage today, and we're really proud of all those guys. And fortunately for us, again, the offense started to go. Yeah, the offense got a rhythm. You seem to have some trouble with the rhythm, a little bit out of sync early on, but then very explosive. Why was the offense able to get going, especially the second half? I just think that the opportunities came and the shots went. There was nothing different than we did in the first half. CJ Kemp played a hell of a game in the first half, and again, the shots went in the second half. Now you got to step up and play with a real big boy. Johns Hopkins in the next round of the NCAA tournament. You thought about that game? I haven't thought too much, but anytime you play a #1 seed, it'll be a real challenge, and you know, hopefully our guys will be ready for it. Hey, Greg, thanks very much. Thank you. That's Greg Cannella, the coach of UMass, after the 17-4 drubbing of Fairfield. Here's Don Little with 4 goals today. Talk a little bit about the offense. You had trouble early on scoring. What was Fairfield doing defensively so well to slow that UMass offense down from first 20 minutes of the game?
In the beginning, it looked like Fairfield really tried to pack it in on us. They did the same thing that Yale did, where they were trying to challenge us for our outside shots. And it seemed that once we got the shots to start going, we were able to push it to the cage a little more. And you know, once our offense gets in sync and we move the ball to each other and we're unselfish, you know, it's a great offense to watch.
The other thing UMass seemed to do offensively, you really tired out their defense. When could you feel their defensemen beginning to tire?
I think it was at the beginning of the third quarter. We came out from halftime, and you know, we usually like to come out at halftime and really push the ball. And you know, with the weather here, it was beautiful, and I think we might have been in better shape. And we just tried to run up and down the field and play UMass lacrosse, and that's our style.
Okay, now you're going to get a real tough test. The #1 seed, Johns Hopkins. You're really going to have to step up. What are you going to have to do, UMass, if you can knock off the #1 seed?
I think we're just going to have a good week of practice and prepare like we always do. We don't want to change anything. Hopkins is a team that I've never played before in my career, and I don't think Coach Canella's had much experience with them, but we're excited. We're going to get some tape on them, and we're going to go down there and see what we can do.
Well, you may not have to change much after a 4-goal game. Nice job, Don.
Thank you very much.
That's Don Little after a big game for UMass and a lopsided win over Fairfield. Let's go back upstairs to Barry.
All right, Ed, thanks very much. Don Little, one of those hot guys we mentioned of late. They have 4 scorers with 30 goals or more. And against Johns Hopkins, they will be tested. Speaking of Johns Hopkins, as we take a look at the bracket, you'll see, of course, that this UMass team will play Johns Hopkins, the #1 seed. It'll be Cornell against Virginia. Looks like a great doubleheader down.
That looks like a first-rate doubleheader, and I'm particularly excited about the Hopkins-UMass game. I mean, with the intelligence that was just presented to us by Don Little, I think they're going to try to break down Hopkins as much as possible and basically play UMass lacrosse.
Well, should be a great weekend of lacrosse next week. Also at Hofstra with Georgetown, possibly playing Manhattan tomorrow. They should advance, and of course Hofstra will host a great doubleheader with Syracuse and Princeton there. Arnie, it's been great working with you. I want to thank Chris Hum, the Sports Information Director here at Brown, for his great help, and along with our statistician today, Jason Yellen at Maryland SID, for our colleagues today, including Ed Ingles and the aforementioned Andy Mesa. Barry Landers saying thanks for watching NCAA Lacrosse on Fox Sports New York. So long.